the best
Well,
debater of all time, the most knowledgeable Boruto fan ever, who can
well,
do no wrong for this perfect series. It would be quite a tragedy if he just couldn't make it for the millionth time, despite
well.
being available. Anyway,
Well,
I have an hour,
speaking. Uh,
10:30, gotta get out of here. So keep that in mind.
so we're live, by the way.
Oh, you're cutting out on me. I heard we're live.
Yes, we're live.
No
Yes.
way.
So who Kamui was talking about at the beginning of the stream was Mamba. I was gonna say, well, speaking of hype, you
Okay.
just kept
Oh,
it
that we're live. It's hype
going
that
and
we're live.
going and going. So, well, I'm glad you had to go at 10:30 because it's gonna storm near me anyways, and plus I kind of want to hopefully go clean tomorrow because then I'll get to go rock climbing earlier Friday, and that'll just be nice, and I'd prefer it that way. But we'll see. Either way, that's personal things. Not that other people can't. It's not that personal. But anyway, it's on to Boruto slash Naruto. I don't think King of Chaos will
Where
randomly
do we
pop
even
in,
start?
but if he does, round two. So okay, well I guess you could give your thoughts on everything that you heard after the stream from last stream that you were there but not there for.
I mean, I kind of forgot, but I wrote a lot of things in the live chat as I was listening live.
You did. I went back and saw that afterwards. Like Samehada, he's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And
That was really funny when you just did not understand what you were saying. But
the
the thing is, you spent a lot of time arguing dumb things with K and Chaos. And I kind of forgot most of. I remember like vague things like the teamwork theme thing or the when do they start setting up Naruto versus Sasuke. But other than that, I kind of forgot everything at this point.
Right. Okay. Well, those are going to be the two polls, anyways. That first poll went live today, if you saw. And so shout out the 12 pings we have, by the way. I think that's just because I just haven't checked it out today at all. But probably a lot from here. Okay, 4 from here. Yeah, so 71% of people know the obviously correct answer. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen here.
Okay, real quick.
Uh-huh.
It's just the dumbest thing ever. I'm gonna DM you. I'm assuming this emoji will show up.
You want me to
I'm
check this
explain
emoji
why in a second.
Okay.
But if I can search for it, maybe. Okay. Again, whoops! I almost sent that to the wrong. I almost sent it to the person that this is about. So okay, you see the emoji I just sent you. It looks different on the laptop than it does on the phone. But do you know what it looks like on the phone normally?
No, I can check on my phone.
Okay, search demon in your emojis.
Okay, I'm looking at it and it's the exact same on my phone.
Okay, I guess it's an iPhone difference. But
I don't even
the
have a
point
demon
is,
emoji in here. It's this Discord thing.
on the
I have
iPhone
this.
version. Nah, okay, that's a different thing. So on the iPhone version, when I see Daigo's notification and it's zoomed out, it just reminds me of the iPhone version of this emoji.
I like how yeah, I see it now. Yeah, I think it's like a dragon or something. I like how you started that seemingly as if that was a segue from something else, but no, it was just completely different, and it was just sort of interrupting whatever I was saying.
No, I know, and that's why I said sorry at the beginning. Because Daigo happened to send me a message.
Like, I'm not mad about it. I just thought it was
Tuesday to Thursday, one of those 3 days.
Well, that's definitely not Monday of next week.
But back to what you were saying.
Next topic. Okay, so all right, yeah. So is the main theme of Naruto teamwork? Yes, that is the major takeaway. 29% and then 71% No, it says more than just one word.
He made that as obvious of what the answer should be as possible.
Like, I feel like that's
You should have just
why 30% voted this, just for the meme.
Yeah, it would have been funny if you had just voted, is the main theme of Naruto teamwork? Yes, no, just to see what people would have actually voted.
Yeah. But at that point, I would have to, like, uncapitalize this and put the weird quotation, but single quotation markers around it. What are these called? Apostrophes? No, that's the bottom one, right? It's commas? No, that's the bottom one. The apostrophe.
No, yeah.
What is this?
Apostrophe would be the one at the top.
Yeah. Okay. Grammar aside, so Kamui. So I guess
Speaking
we'll just
of grammar, you know what? This is a segue. Okay, let me just go find the most recent at Make It a Quote.
Oh my, what a great stream.
So Mama and I
how do I even
have been debating a lot. We've had a little bit of discourse about, you know, each other's English. You know, he's accusing my English of being he chose a sentence that was a message that was 3 short, extremely simple, normal ass sentences. Argued it was bad English, the dumbest thing ever, and I was calling him out on something that didn't make sense the way he wrote. So I want you to read what Mamba wrote. Actually, no. Actually, go to the message, see what's in response to, just to make sure it makes even more sense.
Okay.
Okay, so he's responding to something I wrote. So, Naruto didn't tweak the jutsu until he made Rasen Shuriken, which has a different name.
Saibao.
With
Sasuke did yet stayed same. Even Minato, after making Flyer Thunder God, didn't change the name. Saibao.
So ignoring Saibao, you can imagine why this doesn't make sense for 3 or 4 main reasons. 1, this isn't English. 2, nowhere have Mamba and I been talking about Sasuke. 3, even Minato, after making Flying Thunder God, didn't change the name. 2 problems. 1, he didn't make Flying Thunder God. 2, why would he change the name? He learned Flying Thunder God, the actual jutsu, and it stayed the actual jutsu, and it was never changed. Why would he change the name?
Well, to be fair,
when Naruto learned the Rasengan, why would he change the name? He just learned the jutsu. It's not a similar but different. It's just the jutsu.
oh
Doesn't
my
make
God.
sense as a response to what I said.
Yeah, I mean, Minato did add the extra variant of the Flying Thunder Stage 3 Circle Dance Howling
Dance
Moon.
Stage 3 thing. You know what he did? He gave it a new name. In fact, Flying Raijin Level 2, a different application of the same jutsu, gives it a different name. Thank you for proving our point, actually.
Yeah. I do wonder what the Sasuke thing is.
Just using the jutsu better gave it a new name.
Yeah. Sasuke did yet stayed same. Where? It just doesn't come in again.
What I think what he was trying to say was Sasuke didn't change the name. Yeah, also, he was talking about the Chidori thing at one point. Not the Chidori spear point, but about when Kakashi told him Chidori, I searched Chidori. I'm gonna find what he said. And I was like, bro, he just taught him the jutsu.
Here.
Not older than that.
Chidori's Chidori.
Keep going. Yeah.
Got some change of name, Chidori, does
he? Keep going older than that.
You're so dumb.
Didn't Sasuke no, not that one. Okay. Go even older.
Oh. Probably this one. Should the name of the flying should be Flying Lightning Jutsu.
What's he responding to where it says Chidori doesn't have a different name?
I'm guessing this is because he watched the video that was posted today?
Yeah, so I'm responding to about the Rasengans having different names, the Rasengan variants. And he says Chidori doesn't have a different name, dumbass. And I was like, I didn't realize Naruto learned Chidori, Mom.
Well, he definitely tried to that one time after that guy.
Yeah, but he didn't learn it.
But watching him struggle was really funny. He's like, Chidori, I wish he did that with Rasengan. He was learning it.
I know, it was a funny scene. But search Kakashi now. There's something I said, I guess what it was in response to.
Oh boy.
I guess they've been talking about Kakashi a lot.
This one?
Okay, so.
Yes?
Okay. What was it? Was it in response to?
Oh, I lost it as soon as I pressed
it. Have a different name. Let's just scroll down slightly.
Okay. It's down there.
See,
why did it just teleported me so far away when I pressed X for no reason? That's so stupid. Whatever.
Well, anyway,
626. Okay.
Okay, so what was Chidori does have a different name. And Sasuke didn't take another jutsu and change the name. Kakashi taught Sasuke Chidori, plain and simple. So obviously he used the name of the jutsu Kakashi taught him.
Yeah.
And let's talk about lightning blade there. I think what he meant I don't know what he meant when he said Chidori doesn't have a different name, but I just assumed like he meant like when I don't know what he was talking about.
I mean, it's technically a higher ranking jutsu and or seemingly hypothetically technically possibly more quote unquote refined quote unquote.
Yeah, nobody knows what but it's not what Kakashi taught him.
I mean, I do still love the idea. I know. Okay, you know what? This is a segue. I'm doing the same thing you did. I don't know exactly where we wrote this about. It was you said it in response to a topic that I wrote about Chidori originally not being a lightning style jutsu. Yeah, okay.
Oh, according to
I think Daigo might be right.
I mentioned something. Yeah, because what did you say?
Sasuke freaks out that the chakra. Oh, Sakura freaks out that the chakra in Sasuke's Chidori hand during the Gaara fight, by the way, during the Chunin exams, the final fight in the Chunin exams. During that fight, Sakura's freaking out because Sasuke's Chidori hand chakra is visible. So, like, is chakra visible or not? Is this a callback to Zabuza versus Kakashi? Is the fire style fireball jutsu actually invisible in universe?
So then I responded to this to saying, I think Daigo might be right. Chidori wasn't a quote-unquote lightning style jutsu at first. Because when you think about it, the water style jutsus, like the water dragon, those were clearly visible. Everyone in Team 7 saw it. The fireball jutsu, everyone sees it. It's noted that they just clearly can see it. Wind style's unfair because it's wind anyway. So we're just going to kind of ignore that one. Obviously, people are seeing art style. They're seeing the wall. So then, the question is, what's up with, like, this? It's like, and then the Rasengan, remember the whole example I was talking with Naruto, like, can he see the Rasengan or not? I mean, we had I did the Rasengan for the whole, is chakra visible or not? Same thing that you're doing here with the Chidori. Yeah. So, if only elemental jutsu are visible, and we note based on Orochimaru's weird elements in his 5-pronged seal, they're like tree element and stuff, Kishimoto might not have had his 5 elements figured out yet. So Chidori just might not have been a quote-unquote lightning style jutsu, even if it's electricity. Also, the way that Guy describes it, they don't mention lightning style. Like, so all the things they say, if it was lightning style, you feel like just like the fire style, fireball jutsu, they would just say it somewhere.
Yeah.
They would say that it's made of lightning. Not that Kakashi's cutting lightning, but it's made of lightning. But they don't. So that might be what's going. So it might be that chakra's supposed to be invisible until it's not. And then, like, nature elements would be the exception. That might have been what Kishimoto was going for. The other thing is that Hashirama's wood style was originally Secret Earth style.
I know, yeah, it's funny. But we'll get back to that one another time. But for this, I think it probably is better if Chidori isn't a lightning style jutsu, but then Lightning Blade is, but then maybe just remove the thing that Zabuza says, because that would make that a little bit weird. But I think it just makes more sense to be the like Rasengan parallel variant counter thing or whatever, because
they're both invincible.
Well, yeah, the fact that it's not a chakra, like honestly, the fact that it is a Rasengan with lightning style, realistically speaking, that just basically means it just should beat the Rasengan, but the Rasengan is kind of equal / stronger.
The fact that it just has a nature element, and the Rasengan's still equaling it, kind of weird. And then the fact that it's an assassination technique, and being invisible only helps there.
True. Also, the fact that both the Rasengan and half of the times the Chidori don't require hand signs. Like, that's a point that Jiraiya makes when teaching Naruto the Rasengan. It's like, don't worry about the hand signs. You don't need them for this jutsu.
Because pretty much every other elemental jutsu does use hand signs.
Exactly. So that could just be
Chidori might be the only one that sometimes doesn't. There's probably some times where they do a fireball jutsu without it too that ruins this, but if you want to write it to where elemental jutsu always require hand signs, and some of these don't, kind of thing. But
yeah, I think that works.
Yeah.
And just the fact that it's just, both are just, in this case, jutsus that are just chakra in their hands. It's like the same jutsu. That's why
with that in mind, so I'll go through all three of the important ones here. Sasuke's Chidori variants. Chidori's spear, we'll start there. This one, it could work either way. This one's the least electric-y and really could just be like a lightsaber of just pure chakra.
Sure.
So if Chidori's not lightning style, I think Chidori's spear can be, look, to basically be identical, but it just technically isn't lightning style. The only problem there would be, actually, you know what? Yeah, okay, in the Datara fight, they got screwed up. We'll come back to Datara fight. Chidori's street. Do we want that to still be not lightning style, though? Or do you want that just be not Chidori stream, but electric stream? It's just a new jutsu Sasuke completely makes up.
I have an argument for it to be a lightning style jutsu. This one, of all jutsus. Because when Naruto makes the Rasen Shuriken, you know, adding wind style to a signature jutsu, he's thinking about the version of Sasuke that he met. And that version of Sasuke that he met at the beginning of Shippuden, that used the Chidori stream.
Yeah, because you actually just gave me a good idea. So this can be... Okay. So
his jutsu.
Naruto, when he adds wind style to his Rasengan to make Rasen Shuriken, the parallel will be Sasuke has Chidori, there's no lightning. Orochimaru has him add lightning to his Chidori to make these variants that he does.
Yeah.
So, like, Chidori's spear, what the hell, it can have lightning that at that point. You can use in the Datara fight. You don't have to change anything. Instead of Chidori-ing himself against Datara, he'll just Chidori stream himself. That doesn't really matter at that point. The question is for Kakashi's Lightning Blade. Should that one also be Chidori with lightning added? Lightning Blade. I mean, that makes the most sense of all time. Or to make Sasuke different. Should Sasuke be the first to do that? Like, do you want Sasuke to do the Kakashi's jutsu when Naruto does the Minato's jutsu? Or should Kakashi have already done that? Sasuke's just going to do it in his own way. Like, what do you want to do there?
Well, okay. Let's also just think about how these jutsus are passed down narratively. So Jiraiya teaches it to Naruto from Minato, whereas Kakashi just passes it down directly to Sasuke. Is there a way that we can have it to where somehow it was Orochimaru's jutsu that somehow or the other something or the other like what are you thinking here?
Well,
Orochimaru passes it down.
If you're gonna do that, I think what you would have to do. This is gonna sound crazy, but this would make the most sense for the narrative stuff. It'd actually have to be Itachi's jutsu because.
Okay.
Naruto's learning. Minato's Naruto's goal. Itachi's Sasuke's goal. Jiraiya teaches Naruto the Rasengan, in this case, you'd almost need Orochimaru to teach Sasuke the Chidori instead of Kakashi for that parallel. But Kakashi could just be like the first step. But I almost like it's kind of funny that it takes away from Kakashi's, the only jutsu Kakashi made, which is actually just Itachi's. But
yeah, I think I'd be okay with this because Kakashi can just copy it with his Sharingan.
yeah.
So, and the fact that Itachi's in the Anbu.
His one jutsu he never copied thing. Oh, you know what he could do? I mean, again, this could take away from Sasuke.
Yeah, well, okay, I don't think that it's a cool thing. It doesn't make sense anyways.
Could be Itachi's jutsu. The one jutsu Kakashi didn't copy is Lightning Blade, which is just a stronger version of it where he adds lightning.
That can work too, yeah. But, I mean, it's a cool thing to say, but it just doesn't actually work in universe. I'm not gonna believe you if you say Jonin Kakashi has no jutsus. It just doesn't work.
Well, no jutsus that he created.
He's Jonin before he gets the Sharingan.
It's just the one jutsu he didn't copy, but I think Kakashi learned. Well, Kakashi obviously learned jutsu before the Sharingan that he didn't have to copy.
Exactly.
So I think what he's trying to say, what he means is it's the one jutsu he created rather than just didn't use the Sharingan.
I know. But I feel like they would say that if they weren't referencing Kakashi, the copy ninja who copies 1,000 jutsu. Like you could say, because if anything, I think it is that interpretation. It's just the statement is grossly exaggerated.
Yeah.
It could also maybe apply to specifically looking at Kakashi who got the Sharingan onwards. So like any new jutsu he got after gaining the Sharingan.
Yeah, well then that doesn't work because he created the Chidori before he got the Sharingan. So he never created a jutsu.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Unless he didn't do the lightning blade as opposed to Chidori, the lightning blade, until after the Sharingan, which I think might be true. No, it is true. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean this does work though because I mean Itachi and Kakashi are literally teammates in the Anbu. Also, the fact that they're in the Anbu, the assassination technique organization, so it kind of works. In fact, what would be kind of cool, maybe a little bit of a rewrite here. Maybe instead of Minato telling Kakashi he needs the Sharingan,
Itachi can stop Sasuke's Chidori so easily. Like he knows more about it.
That as well, yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. Plus, it would be kind of cool to see a Chidori class.
That jutsu, if you attack, here, it's useless or whatever. Like, it's almost like these Kankuro versus sorcery thing. That's where we get the revelation that Itachi made the jutsu.
Okay.
Be like, how did you stop me so easily? It's like, the answer is quite simple, really. I'm the one who created it.
Okay. If we're doing this, we also have to make this is stupid. Let's just really quickly make a Itachi one-shot to parallel the Minato one-shot. Minato made it out of love for Kushina to protect her.
Two characters.
Yeah, so let's have a evil Itachi and a good Itachi version of it to where the evil, like Sasuke thinks at first that Itachi made the jutsu to massacre the clan, to kill Wicked Eye Fugaku, who was stronger than him. That's why he made the jutsu, to test the limits of his ability.
If he uses the jutsu in the massacre.
Exactly, yeah.
So after Itachi says this, when he does the Tsukuyomi in the, not the original Tsukuyomi, he won't show Sasuke this, but in the Jiraiya's Toad Tsukuyomi, he'll show them like him Chidoriing people.
Yeah, instead of just using his sword to cut them all down. He can still do that, but I think both would be... Or specifically just Chidori on his dad.
Whatever. He shows his parents' death the first time. He can use the sword there, but then use his Chidori at other times.
Yeah, I think it would be more impactful for him to use a sword on the clan, but then use the Chidori on his father.
The parents, but then he can't show Sasuke that in the first time, so...
Yeah, it depends either way.
Unless you want to do a thing to where the Chidori is invisible, and Tsukuyomi's that weird black, red, white colored thing anyway. So Sasuke doesn't know how Itachi just stabbed his hand through his parents, but then he realizes, later on, that's how he did that. Like he's always wondering, how did he do that?
Yeah. It would also be cool if Sasuke thought that Itachi was blowing him off on the shuriken training to go practice the Chidori, to go, like, develop or refine it, or whatever. And also the fact that...
Itachi says, I have a jutsu I need to master.
Yeah. If Sasuke figures out later on that Itachi learned this, whatever, if Sasuke knows from the beginning, it's kind of cool that he goes to Kakashi to ask him to learn that jutsu. Maybe even like in the Land of Waves when he sees Kakashi use it for the first time, if he does in this case.
See it, but...
I know, but if he did in this case, maybe it would be similar to like when he's like, oh my god, Kakashi has the Sharingan. Oh my god, Kakashi has the Chidori.
Oh, he's gonna think Kakashi did the massacre. He's gonna think it's Itachi.
Exactly. More reasoning for Kakashi to be the accomplice.
It'd be interesting though if he confronted Kakashi. He's like, Kakashi, I have a word with you. He's like, oh, what's up, Sasuke? He's like, that eye and that jutsu. Where did you get those? And then Kakashi has to explain, no, Sharingan's a gift. He can just be vague about that. And then they, like in this jutsu, he's like, it was actually your brother's or something.
In a way, it's kind of weird that Sasuke would want to learn the Chidori, considering it's the jutsu that killed his parents. But in another way, it's almost satisfying that he wants to learn the jutsu that killed his parents to kill his parents' killer with that jutsu.
The only problem is with his end of Sasuke retrieval arc mindset, I feel like he would just stop using the Chidori. But you could do a thing to where he's going to change the Chidori to be lightning style, like to be his own thing because of that. So there's ways you could spin it.
So, okay, this is also another stupid thing. So let's just go with the fact that Itachi was blowing Sasuke off to go refine his Chidori to develop the technique. In this case, should we have Kirin, Sasuke's upgraded, developed Chidori? Should we have that be somehow Shuriken training related? I don't know how. Instead of throwing fireballs in the sky, he's somehow throwing kunai, and that somehow makes Kirin...
No. Okay. I have a really stupid one. So it's gonna be fireballs in the sky, but you know how he's gonna get them up there? He's gonna do Itachi's kunai trick shot thing that he does, but with the fireballs like hitting each other.
The fireballs.
And that's how they get into the sky. They like bounce around Itachi's fireballs and stuff.
I'm down.
Because he does the same trick.
Okay, so this is anime only, but you know that, like, at the beginning of the end of part 1 Naruto vs. Sasuke fight, when Naruto's, like, hiding behind the rock, and Sasuke does, for the first time, successfully do Itachi's kunai trick to, like, snipe Naruto from behind the rock?
Yeah.
Sasuke should totally do that with Kirin, as Itachi just hiding behind, like, a broken boulder from the hideout.
Just a fake out Kirin, where the first one was never supposed to hit him. It's the second one that's gonna hit him.
Okay. If that's the case, I want that to be how Kirin always is. Sasuke banks Kirin off of Kirin. the small Kirin off the big Kirin or whatever. That's so stupid. I love it.
The fireball thing's so goofy. It wouldn't do that, but it'd be cool.
Okay, likewise, I don't know how
Itachi's kunai trick objectively is kind of like almost useless because he doesn't use it in battle. Okay, actually, that was a rewrite. Itachi should totally use his kunai trick in a battle somewhere to make it more like, because it's like, oh wow, it's the coolest, the most amazing thing ever. It's like not relevant. I
mean, Sasuke's the only one who ever does anything with it, and he only hit a single target: Naruto's shadow clone.
I feel like Itachi should use it somewhere. I don't know where would be best. I mean, against Orochimaru. Okay, so I know there's a filler scene of Orochimaru seeing Itachi do the trick, but something you could do is this is a little bit of a rewrite. So in this case, Orochimaru never sees that. So, and you know that Akatsuki fight of Orochimaru versus Itachi, where he does the Genjutsu and he chops off his arm and whatever. So I know it makes Itachi look cool, Orochimaru look like shit, but you know what? Okay, here's this is obviously off the top of my head, so it might not be perfect, but what you could do is have Orochimaru look a little bit less bad. He breaks the Genjutsu and starts fighting, and in the fight, it can be quick, but Itachi inevitably does the kunai trick to have the kunai like cut backwards and hit Orochimaru's arm and like slice it off. So he's gonna get his arm chopped off, but it's the kunai trick that does it.
Okay.
And that's the payoff for the kunai trick.
I can see it.
And then Sasuke can do it in the fight against the snake Orochimaru, but Orochimaru has already seen it, so he like counters it that time. And he has a line like, "Oh yeah, your moves are just like Itachi's; those won't work on me," or whatever. Or another option. Okay, this is kind of funny. So he's gonna do it with the Totsuka blade. So against the Hydra, which in our previous rewrites actually pushing Itachi a bit, he's gonna somehow do the kunai trick with the Totsuka blade to catch Orochimaru.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Another stupid one
Really
is,
paying off the kunai trick.
before the first Chidori Rasengan clash, when that kunai like falls in the water like as they do the clash?
Yeah.
What if Sasuke like planned that in advance based on his like shuriken training or whatever? And if for whatever reason that's gonna be like the thing that like instead of landing in the water, it's gonna hit the Rasengan Chidori clash, and that's gonna be what blows the two backwards. I don't know why. Sasuke just prepared that in advance somehow. But then I want to call that back during the Sasuke versus Itachi fight somehow. Like when they're spamming the 1,000 shuriken at one another, at some point one of those shuriken's just gonna go through the roof, and then like at the end of the fight it's gonna come down like as Itachi's final heartbeat beats or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I love the idea of just using a kunai trick everywhere we can.
Oh, another cool one. Okay. This is actually this would almost justify the worst decision that Kishimoto ever made. So instead of Amaterasu randomly burning the one Orochimaru snake that should have got away from that Itachi fight, we just have like Itachi's like. Sorry.
It's the kunai trick that gets
yeah, exactly, yeah. So it's gonna be like a post-mortem Itachi, like it's Itachi's like final act as he's like limping towards Sasuke, and like before he does like the fingers to his forehead, he like just throws one kunai in the air, like does a finger forward poke, he falls to the ground, he's dead, and then you cut to the snake, and then the kunai lands on.
okay, this is gonna be timeline, but okay, it doesn't make sense. Blocks it. Okay, so you know when Sasuke throws a kunai, Itachi's Yanamir or whatever, and deflects it? What you could do is Itachi just blocks it with a kunai, and then he's like, guess I don't need this anymore. He flings it in the air, just like casually, and I guess it just takes like 5 minutes to come down, but then it lands on the snake. Oh, that would piss people off so much too.
Okay. An even stupider version of this. You know when Itachi brings the Susanoo out, and Sasuke's trying everything. He's throwing like explosive paper bomb kunais at it. He's like trying to stab it with his sword, and the sword goes in the air. Well, what if like Itachi looks at the sword as it like explodes upwards and throws the kunai at the sword to make the sword change trajectory, and then it's gonna come down on the snake. like an episode later, by the way.
It takes forever. It just flings in the sky and it just like lands later.
Well, like maybe Zetsu would have some stupid explanation about like the magnification from like the sheer amount of electricity from Kirin made it like stay in the air longer or something.
No. Okay. I've got an even dumber thing. Setsu's gonna say, okay, you remember the written exam when Sasuke's trying to solve that specific problem Sasuke's trying to solve with like the shuriken at the angle or whatever? So Itachi just does the written exam question. Or it just is the written exam question, and Setsu references, he starts saying it, and then the people are like, oh my god, that was Hibiki's written exam question. Itachi knew the answers.
I want Hibiki to like find out about that afterwards and be like, heh, I knew he was tuning material.
Okay, I got an even dumber thing. So, you know when Genma says Sasuke's already at tuning level? So the reason he's saying it, that's because Sasuke's taijutsu or Chidori, whatever, no. Because in the fight, somehow, at some point, Sasuke with his kunais and shurikens is gonna do the written exam question, and Genma's gonna be like, Sasuke, you're already at a tuning level. And Sasuke's gonna be like, what makes you say that? like that kunai trick It was exactly like the written exam.
So I know the perfect time. Since it doesn't really necessarily need to make sense that Sasuke randomly goes high up on the wall to charge his Chidori. He's only going up there to throw the kunai from that exact angle, not to charge the Chidori.
Yes. Okay, I got even some more Genba idea. Okay, so Genba spits out his toothpick to block Sakon's kunai. It's the coolest thing Genba ever does.
Yeah.
So you have Sakon be like, how did you do that? Basically, like, a toothpick, how did you do that? And Genba starts, he pulls out he just starts, like, showing off his sights. No, she's like, it's quite simple for a Jonin. You see, I just simply use the trajectory whenever you just start saying the written exam question. He'd be like, if you were a leaf ninja, a leaf tuning, you would know this.
Okay, I really want somehow, like, maybe Kakashi references this in the Bell exam. Like, maybe the angle that he does the 1,000 Years of Death was like the exact inverse angle of this, and that's why the 1,000 Years of Death was so effective. Maybe even I know something even stupider. So I think that do we remember what the exact angle was, if they even say it? Like maybe 40 degrees. Let's just say that. Well, let's just say that when Naruto does it against Gaara, it was at a perfect 40-degree angle, but when Sasuke did it against Gaara, it was only at 39 degrees. So that's the reason that Sasuke leaves the village. Naruto just keeps one-upping him.
Oh my god. I do think, okay, I know we're making this into a complete meme, but it would be cool if in different fights with strategic people, so like Sasuke versus Deidara or a Shikamaru fight, if they just explain, I don't care what the question is, but the point is they call back to a written exam question. It's just like Shikamaru's using that principle here. Like, imagine if the written exam had a question about shadows underground, and that's what gives Shikamaru.
Yeah, that could totally work.
It'd be funny. I don't mean Tamari never got to look at Konkuro's answers in time, so she didn't know.
Yeah. Okay, I think we've exhausted this as far as we could take. So,
and I had a few segues that I forgot throughout this.
Well,
now at this point, should we just make this a rewrite stream?
Yeah. I was actually, I don't know how much longer you wanted to go for. I was like, depending if we only have like 10 minutes left, I was just going to do like extra NC Hammer questions that we never got to last time.
30 minutes probably.
Oh yeah, no, that's enough time. We can do more rewrites. Well, I didn't get to do my rewrite from last time. I was going to start stream off with it, but then I didn't get to.
Okay. But what is it?
Well, first, let me just get rid of that. Okay. So you don't, since I think you already answered this. So you don't remember the Mamushi thing I was saying last time, right? About the horror manga Mamushi and it'd be cool or whatever, wherever I put that in the Boruto topics? Or wherever that was?
Yeah, if you read it, I probably remember again, but...
Yeah, because remember I pulled up Jurassic World or whatever, and I referenced that, and the horror movie and all that? Here, let me just type...
Vaguely.
Horror.
I remember you saying Jurassic
Okay, here, I'll just quickly go over this again. After Mamushi gets fodderized, I want him to change his target to either a hot girl or a little girl and make it a... You
never read this. You only wrote it.
No, I did read this. So this was just at the end of stream when you were very tired.
Well, was this what okay, this was the first day of vacation when I got... Okay, that's why.
Yeah, in fact, I could prove it.
I was probably just asleep.
Now. I think this one. Because we did this topic for like 15 minutes.
2,500 frames per second of explosive cinematics.
How was I responding? I remember reading this.
Yeah. I was doing this topic. like you can see, here's the topic.
The Hidan and Kakuzu part. I remember like reading your Hidan and Kakuzu rant, and then I looked at it briefly, and I saw this, and I was like, I think this was after the fact. I don't know what order these were done, but
Yeah, so I mean, okay. Well, we already covered this for like 6 minutes, as you can see, or plus. So we don't have to recover it.
Down the hallways with like the shadow. If you the trail spurs.
Yeah, as you can see, we were talking about it quite a lot.
Like she's terrified.
I must have been giving you the most nothing response of all time.
You were very tired. We'll just recover it. After Mamushi gets fodderized, I'm change the target either a hot girl or a little girl and make it a horror manga where she's running away from him, hiding in a dark house at night alone, and Mamushi's like drooling and grinning as he deviously thumps down the hallway, and the little girl has to survive until Damon gets there to finish him off or something. So give Mamushi like Sasori's puppet design with like the hunchback along with like his claw grime monster form and like maybe some like dinosaur arms and feet to like creep around with like down the hall. I mean, so scary. Like they're hiding behind the door and you see like the shadow of his claws just creeping around out there. So it should be just like that one Jurassic World movie where like the exact same premise happens. It's also kind of like the Walking Dead comic where Beta kills someone in the windmill. If you know, you know. I'm not going to go into that in more detail. And then hey, that will do that after. But I did show this, and I'll just mute this so you can just see this on my screen. Because like imagine it's just Mamushi instead of a dinosaur with the claw hand.
I mean, Mamushi's feet are kind of like that. So
you got like the little girl. And then you have this poster here as well. Yeah, like imagine like the little girl's hiding in bed and Mamushi's hand is like doing this. Like, I'm gonna get you. I'd be freaking terrified. We're on this right here as well.
I really want it to be emphasized that it's devouring and not.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like. See, the thing is, Hisoka's funny. If Mamushi's doing it, it's not going to come across as funny. I mean, it works as a villain, but it's like, I don't want him to be a pedophile.
I know. Yeah. No, that's not what this is. This is, especially
I know.
Since Halloween's coming up, like, again, the horror manga aesthetic, and I will go back to the Hidan and Kakuzu thing, which made me think of this in the first place. This is just like such a horror manga vibe that honestly, it doesn't even belong in Boruto, but I think for a Halloween chapter, it would work really well. It'd be cool. It kind of also reminds me of when Sakon and Ukon are hunting down Kiba, but instead of a highly qualified ninja who's willing to die, it's just some innocent victim, and I think a little girl who's like feels powerless as she's young and stuff, and like short and small and all that, and powerless. Like I feel like that was
the
just
girl that Moegi saved to become a tree.
That would work really well, actually. I do like that, yeah. I think, okay, actually, no, I like that even more because that actually just works better with the Hidan Kakuzu idea. Well, actually, that's kind of, but you could have that be with Mirai and or Kurenai, depending on what you think of the rewrite that I did. But, yeah, so let's go to, this rewrite that I've been saving for literal months.
Real quick, I'm going to walk away and grab something, but you can read.
Okay. I have to find where it is now since we've done so many topics since that night. So what night was this? 6 days ago. Oh my god. Because I responded to it, so I have to go find where I responded to it because I was annoyed that it was there. Not in rewrites, but in Naruto topics. Okay, I found it. Ugh, it was in stupid freaking dumb stupid Naruto topics and not rewrites. Ugh. So, okay, so for the Hidan and Kakuzu rewrite, for how you could get to Hidan and... Okay, so do you remember at the beginning of the year when we did a lot of Hidan Kakuzu rewrites? Because we did that towards the beginning of the year. So this was just...
I remember having done those in the past.
Well, we did those a good 6 months ago, or more. So, going along with those, here's another one. Because it was like the immortal duo. We were doing a lot of stuff with around that topic.
I know, we did a lot of like things. Like I remember, for example, like Hidan... basically, a lot of it was like with their powers, but like Hidan kills someone, he gains their lifespan, like Ryu kind of thing.
Yeah. We did a lot of stuff. Okay.
But I don't know if this goes along with it or if it's separate from it and just topics the same. But for the Hidan and Kakuzu rewrite, for how you could get to Hidan and Kakuzu wanting specifically to kill Mirai, because we did talk about that, like, thematically, how can we, like, narratively make this, like, a thing in the arc?
Yeah.
So I like, wrote out a whole scene of how I would do this in, like, a cool way, for, like, a full chapter or two. But for how you get them specifically to kill Mirai, well, first of all, Hidan's immortality, young thing we talked about, could have a thing to where it only works on unborn children, so he needs to kill pregnant mothers. Since they haven't started their life cycle time thing yet, that could be a cool forbidden jutsu kind of thing. Also kind of cool with, like, Gaara's whole, like, oh, since I was the unborn child to my mother when Shukaku sealed in me, and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, that kind of goes along with that. Maybe they do something there. I don't know, those ideas come up to mind. Anyways, or Hidan can have, like, this craze, fascination, obsession over wanting to go for them, since they are the easiest targets who scream the most and have the most desire to live, or who want to fight back, which is fun for Hidan or something. Since they're like, yeah, he's like a bully. He wants to go after the most powerless target,
but he also chooses to do it.
Oh, that could work too. Yeah, I do like that. It kind of reminds me of you haven't seen Fire Force, but there's a character in there that this is like the character's entire point, that they only enjoy fighting weak people because it's easier, and it's like a cool, like, subversion of expectations that they do that. It's kind of like that character. Anyways, or the fact that obviously unborn children would work best, even more than already born babies, going off the he is stealing the remaining natural lifespan idea. It kind of makes sense. He just takes 100% of their life.
You could just do a thing to where their lifespan hasn't started, and that's the reason why it works, type thing. Like,
that as well, yeah. You get a lot of ideas there. Anyways, so Kakuzu can want to kill Mirai for the money for whatever reason, because this can play into the Naruto identity was kept secret by him being named Uzumaki. Because if others knew he was the Namikaze or Minato's son, then Naruto would be in trouble from people. And the third was, like,
he knows that Asuma's about. Well, first of all, is this going to have taken place before or after Asuma's death?
After Asuma's death, I would assume, yeah.
Okay, so there could be a thing to where he already knows Asuma's a bounty, and at some point it gets slipped. Basically, that Asuma has a child, and then he knows that that'll run for a good bounty, and then Hidan wants to do it because it's like, oh, she's a pregnant woman, huh?
Exactly. Because what I was thinking is that,
everything with Shikamaru protecting the king, I'm sure you wrote this, but with Shikamaru protecting the king, who in his case, the king he's thinking of is Mirai, he's just literally protecting her, and it actually protects her, like, actually in the story, that actually is a thing that he actually does, instead of just saying it in a cool way, he actually does it.
Exactly, literally. Because there's a lot of things you can do here. First of all, the Sarutobi name is sort of what I'm, like, hinting at here. Since the Uzumaki name was so, like, a thing of, like, oh, if Naruto had the Namikaze name, he would have been killed and blah, blah, blah. Well, you could just do that with Sarutobi. Maybe that's why Asuma's in the bingo book. Maybe it's because of the Sarutobi name. Maybe it's because Hiruzen in his prime. Oh, prime Hiruzen. Shout out that. You know, the ruthless Hiruzen, who was so ruthless back in the day. Maybe that's why they want to kill his son.
The Sarutobi were a known clan, so it's not like there was some secret clan.
So the name, prominent, notoriety, all the buzzwords you want to use, it just has that Sarutobi name stake. But also you could just go back to, like, this could even be, like, a cool thing that they do, since, like, the whole king idea and the fact that Asuma hated Hiruzen, you could also play with that in this arc. Maybe part of the reason why is because he's being hunted because of his father. And now, ironically, that's being pushed onto the next generation with Mirai, who's hunted because of her father, in a way.
And for obvious reasons, this just gets Kurenai more in the story, so you can do more with her there.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I'll get to that.
I like the idea of Shikamaru having to protect her.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to make her a damsel in distress because she's pregnant? Or is she, like...
Well, that's what the whole rest of this is about.
Stuff?
Yeah, that's what the whole rest of this is. But, so, okay. Let's stick with where we are here. So, obviously, Asuma's part of the Guardian 12. That could maybe play into his bingo book bounty or whatever we want. I do like the idea. I think the...
Kirikou was in there for that reason, so...
Yeah. But I do like the idea that he's in there because he's Hiruzen's child and because Hiruzen was ruthless back in the day. Whether it's because he started the war or because maybe in the second war he did some stuff himself.
That could be why
Cycle of Hatred stuff
Asuma's
even.
bounty was higher than Chiriku's, because it was.
Yeah, because like, what if you can't get to Hiruzen, who's the most powerful person in the world, just go after his son, and that's going to get to him more than anything. They could be playing that kind of angle, or who knows, but either way, I feel like that kind of idea could pass down.
Just well aware that Hiruzen's dead, but...
Well, yeah, but that wouldn't get rid of the bounty necessarily. If anything, like I'm saying, it would also just go into the Cycle of Hatred theme into the Pain arc, which is right after this.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not right after.
Oh my god. Whatever. It's right after this. But I also like the idea, even though you would hate it, for Naruto to have a little bit more nuance in it more directly rather than just the subtext, to make Hiruzen not the greatest guy of all time, but to have some more obvious darkness in the story in that regard.
Well, I agree, because they like hint at it, but then don't. They hint at it, but then don't. Because I think Hiruzen just retcon. Because, like, even... more than once.
I love it.
Because do you look at, like, there's some things might be filler, to be fair. Well, I know flashbacks of Hiruzen just being a more strict, kind of, not dictator-y, but like, we're going to war, and it's probably in the Asuma filler arc or something. Hiruzen just had that, like, demeanor. There's certain flashbacks of him, like, the Third Great Ninja War and stuff, where he just is different. And then they also implied that all that shit was all Danzo, and Hiruzen just kind of let it happen, but it was Danzo who did it. So it's like, which is that?
Hey, yeah.
Is he doing any of it, or is it Danzo?
Yeah. Well, even then, I do like the idea that a lot of this just stems back to Hashirama's system being passed down to Hiruzen, and that not being the best thing in the world. I'm sure we would at least compromise on saying it's not the best thing in the world. It has some flaws. That's the whole point of, like, Sasuke's ideology at the end. But
yeah,
regardless of that, this isn't something that we're going to get into tonight, and it's something that we might not get into ever.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how you want to go from point A to point B, but one of those flaws could be basically, because you talk like, so Danzo's whole philosophy, he's the prime example, is basically doing the bad things for the sake of the village. Now, what does Hashirama tell Madara when he stabs him? Like, anyone who threatens the village, I'm going to take care of him, whether it's my brother, father, or my own child, or whatever. I forgot what the middle one was, but anyway, you get the idea. So you could basically have, and this is in the story technically, but I think if Hiruzen something specific. But basically, everything kind of is an extrapolation of that. So that's essentially doing the dark thing for the village. So Hashirama is being pro-village. What's the dark thing he's doing? Well, killing his brother, his best friend, Madara, if that's what he has to do, type thing. Which Danzo takes to the extreme. So the question is, what could we give Hiruzen for that? In his case, he was unwilling to kill Orochimaru, which led to the darkness, but that's going the opposite way. So, like,
so this is what I was going to say, is that this isn't something that we're going to get into tonight, and probably not ever, because I'm going to make a video on this at some point, or at least it's going to be part of a bigger video. But when you look at Hiruzen's words, and I'm not talking about as in Prime, when he's a cold, hard, ruthless bastard, apparently, but like old, nice man Hiruzen,
but
that
like
version of him.
Chunin exams words that convince Naruto?
Yeah, stuff like that. So a lot of the good stuff he says, the nice things, the things that look positive and look like it's in the light, they look nice on the surface. And he's using a lot of nice words that sound good the way he says them, because he's talking about family and stuff like that. But at other parts of the series, whether it's in filler or in other parts of the series, wherever, he does more or less define what he means by each of those words. So when you like connect the two like puzzles, you start seeing it in a different light, or you just see him as a hypocrite. Either way, when he says,
one example.
a lot of it has to do with like the will of fire and being willing to die for the village, etc., etc. Itachi, like there's a reason that they say that Itachi's the perfect shinobi, and there's a reason that the shinobi system's bad. Goes with my ideas of Itachi, but just as an example, I'll give you like a very simple and basic one, just really quick. So when Hiruzen and the Kazekage, Orochimaru, but the Kazekage, he thinks it's not Orochimaru at the time. He thinks it's Rasa. When they're sitting down to watch the tuning exams at the beginning, Rasa like suggests or implies that, hey, Hiruzen, you're getting pretty old. You should consider stepping down and letting the next generation take your place. And Hiruzen's like, nah, I think I'll be around for a long time. I'm gonna stay Hokage.
Yeah.
So, which is it? I mean,
which is also funny though, because he's already given up the mantle to Minato. Why is he like...
Yeah. So it's like on one hand, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you take everything he says and put them all together, it's at worst hypocritical, and at best, well, maybe at best hypocritical, at worst, it's a bad thing that he's actually
in
meaning.
That particular instance, you can play it up as a little bit of like joking banter where he's just like, oh, well, I'm not going to die now. There's no rush kind of thing.
Well, he's saying it as a joke because, again, I do think what he says out loud and what he means by what he says are two different things, and you have to extrapolate the meaning from everything that he says to get everything he says. Like, again, like in the Mizuki filler, the stuff he's explaining to Kid Mizuki, and then you combine that with what he's describing about the Will of Fire as he's dying after he steals Orochimaru's hands. You combine those two things together, it just puts it in a different perspective. But I don't want to get into all that right now.
What exactly did he say to Kid Mizuki?
I don't even remember off the top of my head. I would just have to go look. But he's like describing family and all that.
I remember exactly what he says, but
yeah. But like, it's the idea. It's the sentiment. I've already said too much, if anything. But either way, I like bringing that idea more to the surface. You know, Itachi's the perfect shinobi. Well, let's get into the darkness of the shinobi system and what that means, and Hashirama's whole ideology and how he built it from the grounds up, etc., etc. He's the founder of the village, and the fact that the village hasn't changed in a lot of regards since that time. And then that would also get into going into the Boruto era, especially the blank period. All the changes that Naruto does make from that system to the current system that the kids don't understand that difference, that would just make that all the more impactful. The trauma that the older generation remembers, they know, they lived through it, the war itself. More than just the war, the system itself. Being a ninja back then was fundamentally different than it is today. If you just show that difference more directly, that's going to make even Boruto's generation a lot more impactful because of that distinction.
Yeah.
But aside from that, so back to Kakuzu and Hina. So that's the way I would do this, is I would just have Hiruzen back in the day be a lot more obviously bad in this regard. And you can keep a lot of those bad tendencies to the current day with the meaning, but he's mellowed out with what he says.
Would you want to do, this is a rewrite anyway, would you want to basically just give, not necessarily all, but a lot of Danzo's bad things to Hiruzen? So as an example, Kanzo in the Hanzo situation, it just is Hiruzen who's there, as an example. Would you do stuff like that? Is Hiruzen just going to order the massacre instead of Danzo? Does Danzo even exist? Or do you want to have Danzo? Like, how do you want to balance that?
I do like Danzo and Kanzo and that role with like the lightness and the darkness, because so I wouldn't change anything there. What I would do is I'm going to reference the thing that I reference a trillion, million, billion times, Kamui. So prepare yourself.
The Walking Dead or Avatar?
The yin and yang in Naruto. So like Danzo's the darkness and Hiruzen's the light, but there's a little bit of blackness in the white and the yin-yang circle and vice versa. So you do get to see this, in my opinion, a little bit of good in Danzo, especially at his death. But you see a little bit...
I think that's what you have to do. You have to, if you're going to give more bad to Hiruzen, you have to give more good to Danzo. You have to make him less bad.
Well, I think that Danzo's done well.
Gives him some good, but you almost need to give him more good elsewhere.
I think Danzo's done a little bit better than Hiruzen in this regard. So I would just make that badness in Hiruzen a little bit more prominent, or at least a little bit more obvious,
Yeah.
because it's already there. You just have to like emphasize it, accentuate it.
What's is there anything in particular you want to give here? And so like I do think the whole doing the dark thing for the village thing, that's kind of like the thing that all the Hokage are doing. Minato never does that, but that's what I say stealing his baby.
So
the Nine Tails and his baby is the thing. But
I think something you could do
what do you
is
give Hiruzen for that?
Hiruzen, based on the shinobi system, it really emphasizes the conviction and the emotionlessness of it all. As was, Shinobi Principle 25, shout out Sakura. I would emphasize a lot Hiruzen's stubbornness and make that a lot more prominent, which you could even like change some of his emotions to stubbornness. In fact, that could be part of the reason that he doesn't kill Orochimaru, not out of sheer, oh, it's my student, but because of stubbornness in some way or another. Make it more of a bad thing than a sympathetic kind of idea.
He just refuses to give up on him.
It could be something like that, yeah. And that would go along with Jiraiya's stubbornness as well as Naruto's, but that's another time for another day. It would also work well with Hiruzen and Asuma's backstory. Part of the reason Asuma could hate Hiruzen is because of his stubbornnness. He refuses to change his ways. And he's an old man anyways. That should be something that's the case.
Yeah. Well, this actually, one of these will work really well with the stuck in his old ways type thing. So I had two ideas, because we know so Hashirama founded the village, Tobirama founded the police force in the academy, and you could have each Hokage kind of do something. So in this case, Hiruzen can be the one who establishes of what you're gonna laugh, but he's the one who made rule number 25, Shinobi don't cry. Like Hiruzen can be the one who establishes a lot of these Shinobi rules. Now he doesn't have to be the Blood Mist Village or even Danza's foundation, but a lot of the cold-hearted Shinobi stuff, like Kakashi's Anbu days, these can be things that Hiruzen established.
Yeah.
It's very cutthroat, but Hiruzen kind of done a lot of that type thing.
In fact, I think just even emphasize it. I think something you could do, rather than this being something that Hiruzen himself thought of and implement, it can still be. But if he's thinking oh man, what would Lord II do? And that's how he's building the village off of that foundation from the founders.
Exactly. They're each banking off the previous.
Yeah.
Now the question is, Minato, is he ever going to get to a point of having established anything, or is he just going to die? I don't know.
I mean, Minato dies young
Minato,
anyways.
You could do a lot of different things with Minato, so it's kind of what you want.
I feel like Minato's more so a victim of the Shinobi cycle rather than
that's
someone
what I was going to say.
It
depends on whether you want to have him just be, because he's just so nice.
It's like Obito. Obito didn't really even get the chance to perpetuate the cycle. Whereas the others, they just weren't able to break out of it in the first place. That's why Naruto breaking out of it at the end of the series is so impactful. But that's how I would do that, make it more clear in that regard.
Another Hiruzen idea I had.
Yeah.
And you can do a lot of things with this. But essentially, it's not that he's going to do something bad to this person, but one of Hiruzen's Hokage mistakes can lead to Orochimaru's descent to darkness.
Well,
now,
okay, it's so funny you say that. I have a literal literally an hour worth of script dissecting the Kid Orochimaru Hiruzen at Orochimaru's parents' funeral grave scene or whatever.
Yeah.
Literal hour script dissecting that scene. It's insane how much I had to say about it.
Again, you could there's actually plenty of things you can point to that can actually, they're already in the story that you can say kind of led Orochimaru down that path. Yeah. It's technically there, but in this case, we're gonna make it more there, essentially. So
I agree.
I don't know what it is you want to do, but the point is, it kind of leads to that, and then from there, you have a couple of options. Hiruzen can keep that whole "I don't want to kill Orochimaru" thing, and the whole time he can be looking at it as just oh, poor Orochimaru is evil, and he can not realize his mistake wasn't not killing him. It's his mistake was he made him evil. He can be blind to that until he's Edo Tensei, and he kind of reflects that I'm the reason he became that way. Or he can realize it in the fight, essentially, that he did this and he's going to take care of it by killing him. It depends on what you want to do there.
I'm so glad you're saying that, because that's sort of what I'm getting at. He is blind to it. That's part of his stubbornness. It's the meaning versus the thing he says. Like you're saying, he was joking with Rasa, who he thought was Rasa at the time, about, I'll be here for a long time. Rasa wasn't joking, though, or at least Hiruzen's perception of Rasa. Rasa was seriously suggesting that Hiruzen should consider stepping down to let the next generation. And Hiruzen said, he seriously said in a joking manner, dismissing that notion. He can joke it off all he wants. His answer was no.
Yeah.
So there's still that. What I would do here, he's blind to this idea. It's the same thing that he does at Orochimaru's parents' graves. So that's such a very specific thing to say. It's the same thing he does there. What he says does send Orochimaru down that path, even if he didn't realize it. And even if it sounds nice and good on the surface level, it is actually, when you break it down, problematic. What he said to Orochimaru, in a way, was traumatizing. It's not the thing that Orochimaru needed to hear at that time. In fact, I would argue you could arguably, very arguably, this one's a little bit more reach. You could say the same thing, because I don't even remember exactly what he says. You could say the same thing about what he says to Mizuki in that filler arc, as he's a kid, and Mizuki's talking about Iruka, and he's like, oh yeah, there you go, Mizuki, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember what he said, so I'm not going to
post. I don't remember what he said. So.
Yeah, that's the problem. But you could say there's something there in that same kind of way, to where it sounds nice for the audience who isn't thinking about it, but from Mizuki's perspective, it actually led to more problems than solutions.
And with the Mizuki rewrites where he's more prominent, especially in relation to Orochimaru, that actually works really well.
Exactly. I also like the idea, just making that canon, since that arc should be canon anyways, I like the idea that that's basically what sets up episode 1 in the first place. It's not just Mizuki hating Naruto because the Nine Tail stuff. It is that with Iruka's backstory and stuff, and Iruka and Mizuki's bond. Shout out bonds. But it also just sets up that world building from episode 1, that Naruto from episode 1, not just because of Mizuki and the villagers hating him. He's already a victim of the shinobi system. He's already, from episode 1, caught in that cycle set up from the world. He was born into the cycle, essentially. He has to break free from it. But I think that's cool. But one more thing I want to say on this is, when you think about Onoki, and Onoki's character, his behavior, his ideology, his mindset, how he carries himself, how he interacts with others, what would you say is the difference between Onoki and Hiruzen?
Difference?
Because I would say they're very similar. Exactly. And that's what I'm getting at here. But they come across as completely different, and like, their niceness, I guess, is a way to say it. Like,
it's because the story wanted to present Onoki more negatively at first until he has the changes that he has. So like the Gaara one, and then the one during the Madara fight that makes you really like Onoki, and you get the flashbacks of what he was before and blah, blah, blah. Whereas for Hiruzen, they mostly wanted you to be like, oh, sweet old Santa Claus, and then they had some hints of the darkness, but not much. So they were doing two different things.
Well, I also think that's really cool, though, because
almost the same situation. Like,
well, because I think
that for like the same amount of time, they both like had the really strong senseis, and they both like he met Hashirama, one met Madara. Like, they have all these like things that are very similar.
I really admire this about the series, though, because shout out Final Destination, a reference Kamui never would have thought I would have presented tonight on that sentence. But Final Destination, the whole like thing they do with like every death that they do is like, oh, they could have seen that coming if they were more observant. But because they're letting their guard down, they're able to succumb to these obvious things that the viewer is obviously picking up on because the camera's like showing us stuff. But things that they could have seen, but they just didn't see because they put their guard down. They got comfortable, and they essentially let their demise happen in a way. The same thing happens with Naruto, to where the audience is taking on the same
journey as the people living in the story, the citizens, the shinobi, whatever, to where everything looks nice on the surface, but the farther you go in, the more you're able to actually assess I'll just use this word even if you disagree, the brainwashing of the shinobi system. Everything looks nice and light on the surface, but the farther you go, the more you realize the darkness of the system, the more you realize you were essentially brainwashed into it, and just like the people in the series.
I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying, because, like, I mean, obviously it's not, some cases it's intentional. Like, Danzo is intentionally doing what he's doing with the Foundation people.
Yeah.
But in Hiruzen's case, I don't think he's necessarily mustache twirling, trying to manipulate people into
Yeah. Well,
Hiruzen's
Hiruzen's part of that victim. He himself doesn't realize what he's done or what he's doing.
So, like, the same applies to all the Hokage. So, starting with Hashirama, Togurama, Hiruzen, they all are looking at the Will of Fire as this positive thing. And are there some positive aspects to what they're doing? Yes, of course. But, like, it does boil down to that same. This is why I said that I used the Hashirama quote of the, I'll do whatever it takes to protect my village, even if it means I have to kill my brother, sister, child, or whatever. You can tie that into the Will of Fire. Yeah. The Will of Fire is supposed to be about the gaining strength, protecting what's close to you. And that's a good thing, and that is there. The story thematically presents that as a good thing in Konoha Crush.
Exactly.
But the dark side, the yin and yang to that, is essentially throwing away one's life for a village establishment. So it boils down to why you're doing it. Are you doing it for the establishment of the village, or is it because of the one's precious to you? I think that would be like the difference there, because if it's like Naruto protects Sakura, the love of his life, at the cost of his life, well, if that's worth doing to Naruto because he cares about Sakura that much, I'm not going to say it's, you can argue there's a darkness to it, he's throwing his life away, but also letting Sakura die, there's a darkness to that, so he's kind of just screwed. But if it's just about the village as opposed to the people, the king versus the structural teepees in the village, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that's why I brought up. That's why I brought up the Final Destination thing to say, oh, well, look at the journey the audience goes on from the beginning, as you realize later on, oh, we were actually caught up into it just like the people in the universe. Because it's like you were saying, Hiruzen's literally presented as like this nice, bubbly Santa Claus figure who can do no wrong. In Konoha Crush, like you said, the Will of Fire is presented as only a good thing. No downsides. It's the best thing of all time, 100% positive. But the later you go on, and again, Hiruzen died thinking that he was only right, that he was only good. He died thinking that, when that isn't the case, and that's more so what he realizes with the regret when he's in Auto Tensei, even if it's barely there.
How, like, the things that he did led to Itachi having to do what he did, kind of thing.
Yeah, but even then, that's sort of to like emphasize that point. I wouldn't even necessarily say that's the case, because there are some hints. I don't know if it's anime only. Again, I don't really read the manga, but there are still some hints.
Like, a lot of the things I'm thinking of, I'm like, I don't know if it's in the manga or not.
Yeah, but well, a more direct example is when Hiruzen's doing the tug of war with Orochimaru with the Reaper Death Seal. He's thinking about, oh man, I'm gonna kill this guy, but then he like specifically thinks like, oh man, but I can't actually kill him. Man, is even sacrificing my life not enough for this? And no, Hiruzen, that's not enough. It was never enough. And the fact that you thought that was your mistake, that was your flaw. You'd have to go back and see exactly what he says to like for the context of that to make sense.
I think he does say like, it's the idea of like, I sacrificed my life and that's not enough to take him down or something. Like, I don't know exactly what he said, but
yeah, but it's in the context of the things surrounding what he says.
Well, let's just go look real quick. I hate to do this too, but we're not going to finish the Hidan and Kakuzu part of this, because I need to go right after this.
Well, we didn't finish in the last 3 streams, so I'm not surprised at this point.
But I mean, to be fair, I know you wanted to not do it, but I was like, oh, actually, down to talk about this a little bit. So I'm assuming this is towards the end before he does the arm chop thing.
Probably.
The problem with it is that those scenes are interspersed throughout the entirety of Konoha Crush.
I know. It's worse in the anime than it is in the manga, at least.
Well, realistically, because I you know that I recently went back and rewatched that arc at work, but it was at work, so I wasn't able to like focus a lot. But from what I gathered, I think the problem is just that it's a weekly anime. It's just one episode per week. When you watch it, when you binge watch it, it's not bad. Because I feel like the scenes are...
I agree, because, a lot of that stuff, I'm like, I'm just watching it. It doesn't bother me.
Maybe there's a lot of, like, establishing shots.
Good in a lot of those
That's the thing. They're using different music, and they're having, like, unique dialogue every time. It's not just, like, they're grunting as one pulls slightly one way, then one pulls slightly the other way. No, they're doing things. Okay. Like, all of the scenes.
Okay, I'm writing this in pinned messages. This just... I don't know how copyright works with this, but they do this sort of thing in Death Note where it's like Death Note, but without the monologues kind of thing. So, Hiruzen versus Orochimaru tug of war, but without the music. So that it is. So it just.
Well, I'm not going to say that there's not a little bit of filler fluff, but to be fair, in a different episode as it's weekly, it does make sense to, like, when you cut to the scene, to have, like, an establishing shot and then, like, a shot transitioning back to Naruto versus Gaara. It makes sense to do that. And if you're going to watch only those scenes, those scenes are going to stand out, but it makes sense in the actual episode itself.
Okay, I really love this idea. This would be the dumbest thing I could do for my channel, but if my next video after this, like, 3-month hiatus is just me having Orochimaru here as like grunt for like a minute straight.
You're right. You should.
Why am I more motivated to do this than anything else?
Honestly, that would be like a kind of low-key fire, like April Fool's idea. But at this point, we can't do that because we have 80 years worth of April Fool's ideas.
I mean, I could do it. That would be really funny. Just the motive for a minute. What would you even title the thing? Like, just... like, what would you call it? So that, like, it's both funny and or interesting that some people click. I don't know, like...
The truth behind Orochimaru versus Hiruzen.
The sad truth.
Write that down. I'll write that down in pinned messages for you. I'm putting it right
now.
Okay.
That's the title. The sad truth. I could say the honest truth, but the sad truth.
The sad truth is way better.
See, this is the problem, Kamui. Every
and I wrote in there, if I have to, just make cuts so they don't say any words.
Yeah.
It's just every intrusive thought that we have, we feel the compelling need to voice it out loud, and then the other one is only going to support it, and we're just going to keep going down that side until we just make it reality. We speak it into becoming the truth that actually happens. It's like, you started by saying, like, I shouldn't do this, but imagine, and now we're like, yeah, you are doing this. You can't not do it. Of course, I'm like,
I'm like actually kind of hyped to do this. Okay, I found finally the Hiruzen thing.
Okay, so it is in the manga. That's interesting. I'm curious what differences.
Like, it's broken up differently, so it's like a little bit earlier than you'd expect because then it cuts to the Naruto versus Gaara fight where it's literally just that for like 5 chapters straight or whatever, and then it cuts back to Hiruzen and Orochimaru.
Sure.
So. This can't be have come so far. This can't be have come so far. Are you saying I don't even have enough strength to pull out his soul? That this H body is too decrepit, even though I have resolved to die? And Orochimaru is thinking, oh, if you had just been 10 years younger, you might have been able to kill me. Which is interesting, by the way, because 10 years might. So, Hiruzen at 59... which is only 5 years older than Sage Jiraiya versus Pain and Warark Tsunade, who are not so old they're dying, only might be able to kill Orochimaru.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sorry,
also...
I don't years.
When I was rewatching
Orochimaru, Jiraiya, they're fine. They're not so old that they're like miserable. Okay, like Hiruzen 10 years ago would have been just fine.
yeah,
Still just
when I was
amazing.
rewatching it, it really felt like they were emphasizing the only thing that the age was really impacting was like his stamina.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. And they're saying that he's chakra control and blah 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 is helping him fight at this high level, but his stamina's gonna run out. And why is he losing? Because of his stamina.
Exactly.
It's not. And then like I'm like, and then you see us in Edo Tensei. What's the thing he doesn't have an issue with anymore? Stamina. And then what does he do? He performs really well in the few things that he does. He doesn't really look way weaker than everyone. I know he doesn't really get much shine in the war arc, but like, and all he is just like Sani level.
Well,
like,
we literally can't transition to another topic, considering we're ending before finishing this one. But did you see that I wrote a topic about like what exactly killed Hiruzen?
Yes, I remember you writing that.
Okay, yeah, we got to do that at some point.
But like, it's just like one of those things. I'm like, I know this is always the greatest commander of the Hokage. You know, he can just be a good commander, just like Shikaku and Shikamaru. I mean, he's the strongest. It's just like, I'm sorry. It's just like, it's ridiculous to think that Hiruzen. We also see Hiruzen over 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Yeah, he pushed the Nine Tails out of the village. Did it do any damage? No. Was Hiruzen the one fighting the Nine Tails? No. Was Hiruzen depending on Minato to do everything for him? Yeah. Was Hiruzen doing anything against the Biju Bomb? No. Hiruzen can't beat the Nine Tails 12 years ago when he's freaking shipping in Jiraiya age. What the fuck do you think he's doing to the Buddha statue that beat the Nine Tails and the Perfect Susanoo at the same time? Like, what is he doing?
Well, he could push it away.
Maybe.
Okay. This is so stupid. It would have been really funny if he pushed not only the Nine Tails, but he went out of his way to push first the Nine Tails' Biju Bomb out of the village. He just like with the pole, he just pushes it away. Like Patrick pushing the city somewhere else.
That would be really funny. Yeah. It's just Enma is just tanking Biju Bombs now.
Well, if you go back to my very first collab with Trippy, he actually tanks 100 Ten Tails Biju Bombs. We did the math.
Interesting.
I think it was 112.
I can also debunk that because, okay, it depends. Okay. So, Orochimaru's blade that he spits out of his mouth against Four Tails.
Yeah, it's hurting
him. Do you believe that
is
the same sword that he used in the Hiruzen fight, or a different one?
It's probably the same one.
Okay. If that's the case, as Enma said, the grass longsword or the Kusanagi blade can still hurt him. That blade did not hurt Naruto.
Well,
did it push him back like Hiruzen's staff? Yeah. Did it hurt him? No, it didn't. I don't remember the Nine Tails.
To be fair, it hurt him, but it didn't leave any marks.
Well, it did on his bare hands.
It didn't. Well, like,
yeah.
What do you mean by that? Like it's hurting him when he's untransformed on his bare hands, or okay, yeah, that is what you mean. Like when he's holding the sword. I thought like when he hit the staff and then he transformed back, he had like marks on his hands. But no, okay, no, it hurts his monkey body.
I need to double check. I don't know. I have to double check if he has like bruises and stuff.
Funny.
But
I doubt it. But yeah. But I would say with that also, maybe the Nine Tails was in pain. It's just mindless, so we would never know.
Yeah, that's the question there. But
probably at least wasn't comfortable.
It didn't pierce it. Yeah. Well, actually, okay, but we can say that. Well, again, that's because Emma. It depends on Emma. Wasn't his hand? Wasn't the staff when it was bleeding? But I was gonna say, the Nine Tails wasn't bleeding, whereas Emma was.
Well, honestly, the Nine Tails might have been bleeding. It has fur in the way.
It's already red. You can't tell.
Yeah, that is well. It's red. Yeah. How would we know? That's not where I was going with it. But that's so funny.
Orochimaru was just wrong. It did pierce him.
Yeah.
Just could see.
Anyways, for the Hiruzen thing, it might have been an anime dub thing, or it might be somewhere else, or it might have just been the resolve that he's talking about, and he talks about resolve in a different scene. But definitely referencing something. That's for sure.
But anyways.
I guess that's a good place to end. Unless you want to have Hearn and Trout on, and then you guys keep talking.
Who? Shout out person in stage?
LRJ.
Oh. Well, LRJ, if you would like to speak. And Matt, if you'd like to speak as well, it goes.
No,
Shout out, Matt. They joined the Discord. Hey, what up, baby? Hey, join the Discord. I'll link it in the space. Did you already do that?
I heard you guys were ending though, so.
Well, we were.
However, if you guys want to talk, by all means, keep streaming. But I need to go to bed like half an hour ago.
Fair enough.
Oh my God.
Bye.
Good night, Kamui.
Okay, so Med, LRJ, hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Did you guys have any thoughts on the topics we discussed?
Well, I joined like a few minutes ago, so I'm not quite sure what you guys were
I
talking
came
about.
at the end.
Well, so you guys agree with me and Kamui that Hiruzen's evil, right?
Evil? What do you mean by that?
Like, terrible.
In what way?
As in, like, he's a bad person, or he's just like a bad leader?
Yes, his heart is swallowed up by the darkness.
Well, I mean, I think that's more of a Donzo thing. Frankly, I think he's probably more good than he is bad, considering how much he cares about the Will of Fire and all that, and the people in his village.
Well,
and, how selfless he is and all that.
well, would you agree with me that the Will of Fire isn't necessarily a good thing?
Well, at the very least in the series, it's almost always painted. Well, I think always painted is a good thing.
So, LRJ, do you think killing your very own child is a good thing?
Did Hiruzen kill his child?
He would have. He was willing to.
Oh,
because
you mean, like,
Boruto depicts it as bad through Naruto.
Are you talking about Hashirama's whole spiel about killing his own
Yes.
child? Right, yeah. Well, all I can say is that through the framework of the series' view of morality, Hiruzen is not a bad guy. Anything else is like, subjective and whatever.
So you would agree that the framework that views that morality is evil.
Again, what do you mean by evil?
Bad.
I wouldn't say so, no. I don't agree with that.
Oh, well, I guess we watched a different series. Med, what about you?
I guess I'll ask you this question. You think Itachi, the plan to save the village, was evil?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
So do you think he shouldn't have killed the clan?
Yes. Well, that was a double. I don't think he should have killed the clan.
So do you believe, like, when Hiruzen and Danzo said that, like, if Itachi doesn't kill the Uchiha clan, they will end up going to war and destroying the village?
No.
So you don't think the Uchiha were planning a coup?
They were.
And you think it could potentially destroy the village?
It could have.
So why would it not be better to kill the clan than to have the clan be killed in a war with the village?
Didn't I just say that they would have won? Why would the clan be
You said the
killed?
Uchiha would have won?
Yes. Well, that was directly one of your questions, just in different words.
Okay.
I feel like Hiruzen could have probably just killed most or all of them by himself, but either way.
Well, anyone could have killed most or all of them, but most or all of them aren't what matter.
What do you mean? Like Fugaku was like 'Cause he's
Like,
the
the
strongest
top
one, right?
1% of shinobi are the only ones that matter, basically. Let's just be real.
So I would, if I were to say that Itachi's thing was wrong, I would basically argue it from the standpoint of the Uchiha clan hadn't done anything wrong yet, and assuming that their coup was going to necessarily be violent or dangerous or cause more deaths than then killing their entire clan is based on essentially just nothing. Like, it's just an assumption. Uh, you know. So that's what I would say if I were you. If I were making that argument. Not that I agree with it.
Well, it's a what if hypothetical that didn't happen, and that's the point, because it's tragic.
Yeah, I mean, I think the point is really just that either way you look at it, Itachi's decision was a tragic decision, and
Yeah.
a decision, as Obito would say, one that you cannot question.
Well,
So
that's objectively untrue. But, I mean, Itachi just does verbatim directly say that telling Sasuke about it would have worked, and nothing contradicts that, and so that's clearly what the series is trying to say.
yeah, I mean, Itachi obviously. I don't think they're painting Itachi's decision of killing the whole clan as a very morally correct thing, because Itachi himself, goes on and on in the work about how many mistakes he's made, and how he's dealt with Sasuke and all that type of thing. So
Oh yeah, I think it's written extremely well.
yeah.
This is so stupid. Mizuki has a water in his name because Mizu is Japanese and water. Yet he never casts a single water jutsu. Is he stupid?
Yes.
If it was only the top of the Uchiha that matters, then the Uchiha massacre becomes even more ridiculous. XD.
When
Well,
you say matter, you mean like in a battle, like tangibly. Like when Minato shows up, he's the only one that he's gonna murder like 99% of the
well, yeah,
the
I mean, if
army of
Itachi
shinobi anyway.
alone, Obito helped. If Itachi alone can take out the entirety of the clan, then does it really matter?
Off guard though. Let's be honest.
Yeah, or you're like asleep and you just killed them at night or
Nah.
something.
We can't say it's off guard when Itachi's literally showing Sasuke the massacre, and everyone's like running away from Itachi. They know.
Well, some of them were awake or whatever. But Itachi's strong, so
Yeah, he's like a once in a generation prodigy or something.
Hey, that's exactly my point. I mean, let's keep in mind, Itachi also seemingly just did that without his Sharingan, let alone his Mangekyo.
what do you mean he did it without a Sharingan?
Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we ever see him using a Sharingan during the massacre, killing the fodder. Did he have a Sarutobi activated? Acolyte, do you remember? He might have. He definitely doesn't have his Mangekyo activated, though.
No, he doesn't have his Mangekyo activated.
So there's at least one more layer.
Yeah.
But
Well, because
that's
the Mangekyo would
great.
blind him, so eventually. So he uses it
It does,
sparingly.
Exactly, yeah. And plus the fact he was saving it for Fugaku anyways.
Well, in the anime.
Okay, yeah, but he still had to kill Fugaku in the manga.
Yeah, but if Fugaku doesn't have a Mangekyo Sharingan in the manga, which is never implied that he does, then
It's implied in the novels, which are canon.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll take it. But besides that, I would say that just because something isn't directly in the source material or implied in the source material, we can't say that's not the author's intent. Like, Kishimoto could have been going for the fact that Fugaku had a Mangekyo, without ever even hinting at it.
Well, if it's not in the story, then it's not in the story. Like, we can't make assumptions. Like,
Well,
if
we can't
Kishimoto
definitively
tomorrow,
say.
if tomorrow he comes out and says, "Yeah, when I was writing that scene, I was thinking, yeah, Fugaku had a Mangekyo," that's one thing, but he's never said that.
Well, but that's exactly my point. If he says something in an interview like, oh yeah, this is what I meant, even though I didn't include it in the story or imply it anywhere, well, that's still what he meant when he wrote the scene.
Yeah.
So I would say we can't just look at a story to imply author's intent. Fugaku absolutely could have had a Mangekyo, regardless of whether it's implied or not in the manga.
Well, he could have, but I mean, obviously, we already said that the novels do that, and the novels are supposed to be manga canon. So
yeah, I know the point is that we just can't say either way, and I was saying at first it is the case, and you were saying it's not the case, but yeah, either way. But Hakalite didn't answer that question. But I wonder if he... Oh, no, Eli left. Okay, well, Hakalite, did you have anything you wanted to say? In regards to Itachi having the 3 Tomoe Sharingan out during the massacre? Or if it was base Sharingan?
he might have used the MS sparingly. Like, we don't know if, like, one opponent was tough or something. We're not
I
sure.
definitely don't think that's the case. I mean, they're really
I don't
implying
even
that
think.
Fugaku and Shisui were, like, the guys.
That's true. I'm just saying we don't know.
I don't think anyone else in the clan really had like the Mangekyo Sharingan like that for Itachi to be using it.
Yeah, they were all ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them don't even have the Sharingan to begin with. Not even the one Tomoe. But to be fair, not all of them are ninja, so kind of makes sense. It's kind of funny, though, that, the Uchiha clan is known by all and feared by all, but frickin' Granny down the street doesn't even have a Sharingan. Hey, what?
To be fair, do you know if she doesn't have a Sharingan? She could be the most
I'm pretty
second most
sure
powerful
we
one.
do. I don't know where, but I think it's, like, stated they don't. That not every Uchiha had one.
Oh yeah, I know not every Uchiha had a Sharingan. I'm saying, how do you know the Granny didn't have a Sharingan?
Well, I'm saying the Granny, but was I specifying anyone really?
Well, there's the Granny that Sasuke runs into or whatever.
No, that's auntie and uncle who you're thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm doing what
different
Kamui does by referencing Grandma Josephine, which sounds like a specific character that I'd be referencing, but it's like a hypothetical character that doesn't actually exist. But they do because they're just not named. But yeah, you get the idea. Anyways. I mean, for the massacre, for the coup d'etat, the fathers would have just sought the fathers of the leaf, and then the higher Uchiha would have fought the higher leaf. I mean, we know the plan because it's literally just directly stated how it would have gone down in the novels, at least plan-wise.
Well, I haven't read the novel, so I'm not sure.
Well, there you go. But
I don't even know if all of them are published. I think some of them are in English, but some of them aren't.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm
reason,
pretty sure like all of them are translated, at the very least, whether officially or not.
It's so weird how Viz just decided to publish some of them, but not others.
Yeah, but shout out Salad and Bolts. They do their work. But aside from that, did either of you have any questions or topics?
Yeah, do you think Hiruzen is the worst Hokage?
Good. It depends what you mean by that, because I think they're all the worst in a certain regard. But overall, well, what does it mean to be Hokage? Or what's most important? Like, what's the weighting for each of those? Because I feel like based on that, it's determining based on what you think. Also, that you'd also have to like factor in the state of the world at the time. Like Tsunade came in at a bad time, whereas Kakashi came in during a relatively good time. So he had less struggles. Like, how would you compare it in that? It's almost like impossible to compare in that regard. I guess you could say, like, you take, like, each of the 7 Hokage individually, and you throw them in each of the 7 individual Hokage positions, and then you average it out based on how well they would have performed during that time frame to determine who would be the best Hokage on average. But then you would take them as Hokage rather than their position at that time, if that makes sense. How well they could have handled it, I don't know. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, but who do you think is the worst Hokage?
I don't really have an answer for that. I would say maybe, I don't know. Hiruzen was a pretty easy pick, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, Tobirama, like, essentially segregated a part of the population. You know, that's kind of bad.
Tsunade might objectively be the worst if you factor in the
Tsunade?
Fourth War. Yeah, because
What?
she got like 80,000 shinobi killed or whatever, which might be more than the Third and Second War combined. We just don't know.
What do you mean what did she do?
She
What are you
declared
referring to?
war against Obito.
Oh, Obito declared war against them.
No, yeah, wasn't
That-
Tsunade like in the coma still when Obito did that?
Well, that's
They all
besides
agreed to
the
go to war
point.
before she woke up. They were going to war with or without her.
Yeah, we can't be like excusing her based on comas.
Okay, dude.
It's true. But
Technically, Sasuke did go rogue under her watch.
that's true. Yeah, and she didn't want to sing Kakashi. I mean, Kakashi went anyways, and got no repercussions for that, by the way. He just abandoned his mission to Tsunade's face, but whatever. It's kind of funny. I wonder what that mission was. Like, how bad is it that he didn't take that mission? I mean, Tsunade thought it was more important than going after Sasuke, so it must have been an important mission that couldn't have been given to someone else.
Yeah, it'd be really funny if we like cut back and like the end of the Sasuke retrieval arc, and we got this situation where, like, you know, someone's like missing or dying, and who's like, the shinobi didn't come save me. That would be embarrassing.
Yeah, you cut to like the hidden waterfall village and it's on fire or something.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Oh my god. That's stupid.
I have a question. Is there a
yeah.
reason why during like the time skip, Jiraiya doesn't teach Naruto like any of like the nature elements, or like teach him any other like jutsu like sage mode or anything?
Isn't it because he's reteaching him the basics and all that
Yeah,
stuff and how to control the Nine Tails?
because if you remember going into the tuning exams, that's what Ebisu was focusing on teaching Naruto, and then Jiraiya interrupted him to teach him his big, great, grand, glorious toad, and then he also taught him the highest, craziest, multi-year process long learning jutsu, the Rasengan, that he doesn't even actually learn. He just like shortcuts around it, which is a mean way of saying that, but you get the idea. He doesn't actually do it correctly. He just does his own tricky way of doing it. So Naruto never learned the basics going into the tuning exams, and so he just basically had to do what Ebisu was teaching him. As well as like Genjutsu
Yeah,
resistance,
that's
which probably
right.
goes along with that, and then the bigger Rasengan. But most importantly, outside of the narrative stuff of being his dad, quote unquote, and like teaching about the world and the cycle of hatred, blah blah blah, which he didn't even listen to anyways. Ignoring that, he most importantly, in terms of like power scaling wise, outside of the fundamentals, he taught him the Nine Tails. Not teach him, but he like worked with Naruto on that, where he comes back with the Four Tails, and that's like what the time skip was for more than anything.
I guess Dry didn't think about the whole training with shadow clones to multiply the the time thing.
Oh
he
yeah,
done
no.
that work
If he
in,
did that from the beginning, Naruto would have been the strongest ninja in part 1. It's like, you just can't give him that. It's too busted.
Yeah, I think it's just like narrative reasons. Like we got to look at it like Kishimoto didn't want Naruto to do major things off screen, which I think is fair.
Yeah, like to be fair, I mean, Kishimoto balances it out by Naruto just being bad at learning things, so it takes him a lot longer, as well as the fact that Ninetales nerfs his chakra control. But like outside of that, you can only nerf Naruto's learning capability so much when he's learning at 1,000 times the rate with shadow clones. You just can't do that.
Yeah.
Like for Naruto, I think he learned the Rasen Shuriken in what was it? A week? 3 days? I don't remember the exact time, but it was going to take him what, like 3 years? Or a year or something? He did like a year's worth of training in 3 days, I think is what it was. So maybe for Naruto without clones, it would have taken him like a year to learn Shadow Clone, whereas for like maybe like Sasuke, it would have taken him like 3 months to learn the Rasen Shuriken if he was doing the exact same training. But because Naruto is Shadow Clones, he could just learn in 3 days. It's just stupid. To be fair,
Naruto might as well be talented.
I'm not going to count it as talent, though, because it's not him learning it in 3 days. It is him learning it in 3 years. He just condensed 3 years down into 3 days. But he can't just do that. He did that with, like, the greatest resolve of all time to do that, as well as, like, Sakura's food pills, as well as Yamato being there to stop the Ninetales rage. Like, he had all the benefits in the world. He can't just do that anytime he wants.
It's true. But would you say Naruto is talented in general?
No, that's the point.
So like even though like Naruto mastered Sage Mode quicker than Jiraiya did, like that wouldn't be like considered like more talented than Jiraiya.
But even that, he did it in his own way.
I think it's just that he's good at some things, not good at other things.
I think it's that he has certain advantages that, like, it gives him an advantage, and he takes advantage of those advantages. But, like, hypothetically, if Sasuke had every advantage Naruto had, he would do way better than Naruto. So I wouldn't say that he's talented in general. If you want to say he's talented in his own special way, then sure. He, like, has special tricks that he uses that work. But I wouldn't... what I would classify that isn't as talent. He's just a trickster.
Yeah, he's the #1 unpredictable knucklehead ninja.
Hyperactive knucklehead ninja, but yeah, he's definitely unpredictable.
Hyperactive knucklehead.
Yeah. But that's what I would say in terms of that. I know Hackalites typing, but we could also look at chat and see if there's anything there. And there isn't. Every time I come into the stream, I hear someone mention pain.
Really?
That sounds accurate. I believe it. It's funny, so absolutely, probably. Oh well, Hackalites talking or typing. Any other questions?
Yeah, who do you think is like the most well-written villain in Naruto?
Well, Madara's not a villain, so Gaara's a good pick. Orochimaru's a good pick.
Wait, how come you don't think? So you think Madara is more of like an antagonist than a villain, or like an anti-hero?
Well, no, I think Madara's the hero.
Don't probe him on this. He's going to go on forever.
I will. I have a 200-page college thesis on this.
So embarrassing.
That you don't understand this? I mean, I would agree. It's pretty embarrassing that you don't. But, I mean, that's why that's my job. That's why I'm here. So that you don't have to be embarrassed in the future, LRJ. So I'm glad that I can be here for you.
Oh my god.
But in terms of best written villains, definitely not Kakuzu. But Zabuza's really good. It might be Zabuza, but in terms of like specific arcs, if we're going overarching, then Akatsuki. You could say the Masked Man was pretty good, but was he really? Might be Zabuza or Orochimaru, but that might just be because of the anime. I think
Obito is my number one.
I would say
Personally.
Obito's more of an antagonist than a villain, but you could still classify him as villain.
He's a villain for most of his appearances.
He's villain right up until like halfway through the war.
Okay.
Well, when does he stop? When does he stop being a villain, Oodie?
Who? Sorry.
Like,
When do you think he
I
stops
think-
being a villain?
I'm asking who.
Obito, because you said he's not really a villain.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
more of
he's
an
more of an antagonist. I would say when he gets the mask off, but a little bit after that. I would say he becomes an antagonist when he says this world will not, or sorry, this world will end, and Naruto says this world will not end. I would say it's when the Fourth Alliance shows up. So he can do
Why?
like the Fourth Alliance jutsu or whatever, right before he kills Neji. I would say that's when he becomes an antagonist.
But why wasn't he antagonist before? Why was he like? What's the difference?
Because he was a villain before. And then I would just
Yeah,
say
but
you'd
I'm
have to look at the
asking-
roles between the two. He's not like a personable villain for Naruto, whereas after that point, he's almost like a foil to Naruto.
Yeah, I would agree with that part. So that's what you mean. So like, after his mask comes off, he becomes more of a personal villain to Naruto.
Yeah,
So
because
for you,
at that
means
point, he's
an
not
antagonist.
Obito. He's Madara or no one, depending on the timeline.
But can someone be a villain and an antagonist at the same time, according to you?
Yeah.
Such as?
Good question. Sasuke.
You mean like at the end?
You could argue
of the
Sasuke
series?
was an antagonist up until because you can argue like Sasuke is not really a villain up until he's aware that Itachi um, sacrificed. It's like he's not a villain until like he gets like the reveal from Obito.
So you're saying Sasuke is a villain and an antagonist. So I'm assuming you mean like at the end of the series when he fights him at the Valley of
Oh
the
yeah,
End.
then yeah, he'd be a villain and antagonist at the end of the series.
Yeah.
So why? Because he's a foil for Naruto there, and Obito is also a foil for Naruto in a different way. So what makes them different, Obito and Sasuke?
Well, because there's a couple things you could say. First of all, Sasuke was trying to do a bad thing, whereas Obito was trying to do a good thing.
Through the framework of the story, that's not true. They're both.
Yes, it is.
Oh God, it's just not like the story blatantly paints the infant Tsukuyomi as a bad thing. There's no getting around that.
They turn into like white Zetsu or something once they get like absorbed by it.
So where does
Whether
the
you
story?
personally,
Where does the
whether you
story
personally-
do that?
whether you personally agree with the infinite Tsukuyomi or not, the story. Well, for
So-
example, Naruto always, who's the main character and is the moral center of the story, always counters the infinite Tsukuyomi by saying it's a lie, it's not real, you're running away from reality, etc., etc., and that you need to face reality and accept, your comrades around you instead of, running away. That's basically the message there.
Naruto? You mean the idiot? Well,
The main
let's
character
more
who's-
importantly, yeah, I don't care that he's the main character. Light's the main character of Death Note, and so that debunks main character meaning anything at all in that regard. But Naruto's a shinobi who's following the will of fire. He thinks Hiruzen's a good guy. He literally says at Hiruzen's funeral, "Why do good people like Hiruzen have to die?" He doesn't change his mind on that at any point, as far as we can tell.
Yeah, well, the story is saying that he's right. Again, whether you disagree with him is different.
Do you think
Like, the
Naruto would kill
stories-
his own child?
I don't think Naruto would do that, But
No,
Hashirama would.
we've actually seen it in Boruto. He refused to kill his own child.
Well, do you think teen
Yeah.
Naruto would kill his own child?
No.
Why?
Well, because he's like a ridiculously empathetic person. Like he forgave the guy who killed his parents. Like it's not something he does.
Well, I don't think he did do that. Where does he forgive the guy who killed his parents?
Well, he says that Obito was nothing but awesome to him, so
Yeah, he's talking about Obito Uchiha, not the masked man who was Madara who killed his parents.
I mean it's the same person though, so
But Naruto is making the distinction, and that's the point. That's why he says, I told you I would take that mask off of you twice.
well yeah, I mean him pretending to be Madara wasn't himself. Like that was a mask he was putting on, as well as his sort of ideology of the whole infinite Tsukuyomi thing. You know, that was also a mask.
So
Yeah,
just
they were masks, but
just
it
making
doesn't mean
sure.
that he's not the same person.
So you think that Naruto thinks Obito killing his parents was nothing but cool?
What he's
Just
saying
clarify.
is that Obito the person, deep down was nothing but awesome to him.
Yeah, the person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obito.
You can't take someone like the person.
Maybe we
the
can't.
person is-
Naruto did.
A person is who they are as like a whole, right? Like they're not just one aspect of themselves. That's not how that works.
It is to Naruto.
Well, yeah, Herman's like counting your point. I think a perfect example would be like Luke Skywalker, where he separates Darth Vader from like Anakin, his dad. So like it's pretty much like the same situation here.
Yeah, I'm not saying that like Obito wasn't hiding himself through being Madara and whatever else. I'm saying that when Naruto says that Obito was awesome, he's not just talking about Kid Obito. He's talking about the Obito who had just helped him defeat or partly helped him in the Kaguya fight. He's talking about the person who was redeemed, the person who had lost his way and who is now back on the right footing. That's
Well,
what
him
he's
losing
talking
his
about.
way was not awesome to him. But yeah, I agree that the Obito he brainwashed is who he's talking about.
He didn't brainwash him. He just convinced
Yes, he
him.
did.
Okay, well, brainwashing is not the same as convincing someone of something. It's not
Well,
how
he
that works.
definitely didn't do that.
What happened was Obito convinced himself because he saw Naruto's actions. And
Obito definitely didn't convince himself.
No, I mean like Naruto pointed at him and was like essentially put a mirror to him and was like, and Obito says it himself, right? That when he looked at Naruto, he saw his past self and regretted his current self. So it wasn't all Naruto's doing; it was also partly Obito's doing.
Of all people who have ever convinced themselves of anything ever, Obito's at like the bottom of.
I don't know what you mean.
My point is that I agree with you as an analysis of the story is that it should be complex and nuanced. But I'm telling you what Naruto thinks when he says what he says.
What do you mean? What does Naruto think?
That he's separating Obito, the kid / brainwashed version of him, from the Madara version of him.
Well, you can have that interpretation if you want.
Well, I would also say that Obito losing his way and then finding it again, that doesn't play into Naruto. Naruto only likes the good version of Obito from his perception.
What does that mean? Like, he only likes the good parts of him? Well, I mean...
From his perception,
like,
yeah. The parts that Naruto views as good.
Well, of course he's going to say, Obito, you have great qualities, and I like those parts of you. But he's not going to say, man, those bad qualities, they're really great. That's not what he's saying. But he's also not saying that he's also not just talking about Kid Obito when he's saying that Obito is awesome. He's talking about Obito as a whole, because people are more than one thing, and people are also complex.
No, what I'm saying is that Naruto had a problem with Obito because he was being like Madara, and as soon as he stopped doing that, he went back to treating him as if he would have treated Kid Obito. It's not that, oh, Obito, you redeemed yourself. That's a good thing. Naruto doesn't care about that. He only thinks it's a problem that Obito had to have redeemed himself. He only views that as a problem.
Yeah, I mean, he thought that Obito hiding the truth from himself, essentially lying to himself, was the problem.
Yeah, he thinks Obito's bad and wrong for having lost this way in the first place, which is why he's trying to put him back on the path.
Yeah, but he's also accepting that, the reason he's doing that is because he's accepting there's some good in Obito, and that Obito can still change, even though he's not the child he used to be.
Perceived good.
Okay.
Because he views Obito as having never changed, but rather as Madara having been put on top of Obito. And so he's really just attacking the Madara part of Obito.
Well, in some ways that's true, but also Obito has undeniably changed. He's gotten.
I agree.
Okay.
But Naruto doesn't.
I don't think that's true.
Well, you just said though.
No, might as well just agree to disagree.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Well, we could do that, but that would take away from what LJ said about me talking about this forever.
You will talk about it forever. I've seen you talk about it forever.
Well, thank you. Acolyte said, I think there's an anime-only scene where we see Itachi soon. Then in the manga, I think he typoed there. Like a quick glance at him as Sasuke's thinking about revenge, where they give him only the Sharingan. Do you mean like when he cries right before he leaves? Because I'm talking about during when he's massacring people. Like when we see the Mangekyo version, I don't think we see anything there. Orthokage Minato, do not worry. One day this baby will say that I am the coolest guy. I love it. So let me go check those chapters as well. Shout out to Kamui who messaged me. It's probably about the things I'm saying on stream that he's listening to right now. And he probably has a big problem with it. Members only live stream? That's cool. Switch to members only? Can I do that? Let me just try that really quick. I'm just curious if I can do that. Schedule it for 1 minute. So is it just going to go into members only? Until you switch it? Wow! Okay. Well, I'm going to end the stream soon anyway, so anyone who's watching for free or whatever, thanks for joining. Don't join the Discord! This is just a test more than anything, not to punish non-members or to say you have to become a member. Space, you're in the Discord anyways, it doesn't matter. But hey, join the Discord and you'll get to see the end of stream, which we're going to end in a minute anyways. But yeah, hey, it's just cool. I just want to test this out. I'm not going to do this often. I just want to see if this would work or what happens. Yeah. Anyways, let me go check those chapters. So what chapters was it? 224 and 400. We might have.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Itachi used his base Sharingan killing the Uchiha. I think that's true.
I remember, at least the anime, I saw him use the base Sharingan when he was just running around slicing people.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
because Itachi is just so much stronger than everyone, so his base 3 Tomboy Sharingan should be plenty. And if you take the novels into consideration, yeah, he was saving his MS for